Charges were spread all over town. Stephen the blasphemer, the three main segments of Jewish society, the people, the elder, and the scribe, who represented the social, religious identity that all came into act. So in other words, they went straight to these group of people, complaining about his teaching. And when they get there, like they said, they try to bring slander on. Because they say he's speaking against Moses and God. Well, God chose Moses. But as we look at it too, it was what? Kind of in the Old Testament, am I right? Okay. Well, as we know throughout our time, the come of God. We want it to come or not. Change will come. So in other words, and this is just my opinion, he was telling them that a new change was coming. But in order for everything to get right, these things must have to fall into place. Right. So in other words, like he's saying, Jesus is coming and Jesus is the Lord. But we all know the things that Jesus had to go through for everything to get right. See, like everything plays a part. But like I'm saying though, when these people, they mad because really he's not teaching what they want him to teach in so many ways. I mean, he's teaching, but he's not going with everything they say. And that's what's really getting them getting their feathers ruffled, because they say, well, he's teaching against Moses and God. Well, God's law is all law. Yes, Moses has written the commandment. God gave him to write that, So in other words, too, well, like Stephen said, well, Jesus as well. Jesus has the same power that nobody wants to understand. So, I'm going to really look more at this. And they said, opposition against Stephen, they were stirring up and seizing him, brought him to council. Sanhedrin describes the scene inside the proceedings. Some of the angelic Jews were given the opportunity to present their case before the council, the elders, and religious sacrilege. They said that Stephen does not cease to speak blasphemous words against the holy place and the law. To speak against Moses was to attack the law itself. Additionally, the holy place was the temple, which was considered the dwelling place of God. To attack the temple was seen as direct affront to God himself. To add insult to injury, the charges against Stephen intensified, and he is accused of saying that Jesus will destroy, replace, and change the custom which Moses delivered to us. This third accusation was more threatening, not just for blasphemy against, but destructive to the temple and the law. So, like I'm saying, so now they're pulling all this stuff up against Stephen because of what he was saying. But, like I said, if you really look what he's saying, to me it's like a little bit of jealousy as well. It's a little bit of jealousy because look at his title. Stephen is kind of like a very forefront person in the community. He's like one of those type of people that you go to when you need something. And what's the best thing to do with a person of that stature is what? Try to destroy their reputation. Amen. And if you see today in our political races and political things, what's the most thing they do? What is the number one thing they try to destroy the other opponent? Reputation. By saying this and by saying that. And like they said, some of these people was coerced into doing so. Some of them probably got threatened to, hey, if you don't go along with what we say, then you next. So you never know. But like I'm saying is, but these are, and it's funny though, because these supposed to be people of God as well. But you wouldn't even do this to another person of God. Destroy his whole reputation over, you saying it's threatening your beliefs, but you gotta look at, he was just pretty much just underlining and saying, hey, he does have that power. But we all know the temple is what's inside of us, it's not a building. It's what's inside of us. When that day comes, he's not coming back for this structure, he's coming for the souls inside of the structure. And that's another thing, too, people really gotta start realizing about things that he said, because he's gonna come back and destroy. Well, he will. He does have that power.
Yes, he does.
He does have that power.
Mm-hmm.
And as we learned that all the miracles that he performed, not anybody can just do what he did.
Nope.
He has that power. In verse 15, and all who sat in the council looked intently at him and they saw that his face was like the face of an angel. After the charges against Stephen was presented, the council gave him their full attention to hear his response. But when they looked at him, they didn't see a blasphemer, but rather a visual transfigured as the face of an angel. Instead of guilt, the glow on Stephen's face was confirmed before the council. His innocence of these accusations and evidence of God's presence with him. When the world is against us, we can always rely on the one who stands before us. However, relying on God when the world is against us isn't always easy, because the pressure of the world can be quite anonymous. Stephen was living his purpose, doing what was right in the eyes of the Lord, serving his people, teaching them his word and life. Yet, in spite of this, he suffered under the false accusations of blasphemy, a charge he would answer with his life. Regardless of how unfair that his situation was, what mattered most was how he handled the opposition. Be told, whether black or white, male, female, or any other distinguished demographic, life will feel like the world is against you. In those moments, may Stephen's conviction can serve as a source of comfort and strength for contemporary believers. So in other words, when he's sitting on trial, he wouldn't sit there, he was quiet. He didn't really have to say too much. Because by him just sitting there, and like they said, when they looked into his eye, or looked into his face, they saw a face of an angel. And like how we do it today, every time we step out here out in the world, there's always something that's always on. It's always another force is always trying to break us or come and take something from us. And like I say, when we made that vow, when we made that allegiance to accept God in our lives, we already knew it was more to come. It wasn't going to be easy. The type of group of people that we all are going to be under attack for something.
Amen.
Nobody, like they say, because you might be the nicest person, you might do the best thing, you might be the smartest person in the world, but you can still get attacked. People ain't always going to like you because of how you walk.
Sad.
And nobody, and that's the thing, we're never going to be accepted always.
Amen.
Some people, they get all discouraged and get depressed because a certain person don't like them or a certain group don't like them. Well, it's not for, you doing something right if it ain't right.
What you said.
You're doing something right, because they even tell you here, everybody's not going to like you at all. But we're not supposed to be trying to get them to like you, because it's not in the plan.
Amen.
They might say that you never know where these accusations thrown in. Like I'm saying, he's cold. He's sitting there playing it cool. Because he knows. He knows that God got him.
Yes.
He knows that. And he said the truth will come out. That all these people that ran to the council telling them all about what he was doing, now they seen a totally different side of him. Like, y'all sure y'all right on what y'all saying? Because just by looking at him, he don't look like the type of how y'all describe him. But like I'm saying, but he never said a word. He just sat there. You know, because we'll be faced with a lot of stuff, but sometimes the best thing to do is sometimes don't even say nothing at all.
Amen.
Because if you start saying something, that's when the problem might even get even worse.
Amen.
Because if you know you need to do it, ain't no need to try to explain yourself.
What you said.
Because once you start explaining, then that's when they open up doors for something else to come in. But like I said, sometimes you just gotta be there. Don't say nothing. Be quiet. In the application interview. So how was Stephen able to resist the opposition while maintaining his witness for God? According to the lesson, it was because he was full of faith and power. This relationship with God endowed him with the heavenly gift of which he leveraged to serve God's people. That's it. That's all the empowerment of our. The stronger our faith conviction, the greater the opportunity for the demonstrated God's power. So in other words, he's full of faith. He trusts God all the way on up to the end. But don't this kind of seem as if how Jesus was when he went to trial?
Amen.
They did everything to him. They spoke. They said he was a blasphemer.
Yeah.
They called him all kinds of things. He went through the things that he went through, but he never uttered a word. He just let it be. He knew what was greater on the end.
That's right.
He knew the whole purpose of why he had to go through what he did.
He was doing what his master told him to do.
Right.
Amen.
Full of faith. And sometimes, you know, a lot of stuff hits us a lot, but that's how your faith is getting tested. Some people might give up and throw in the towel. But he stood his trial, and the end result was, you know, I don't think that he was like that. And like I said, some people might say some bad things about you. Sometimes it's best not even say anything, because when you start explaining it, that's what, it must have been true. No.
You don't have to be true because they said.
Right, you're right.
Yes,
Let's say sometimes we just gotta take the high road.
Amen.
And sometimes somebody try to bait you into doing something. See, I told you he was like that. See, I told you he was doing that. See, but and that's all. Thank you.